again, everybody. It's Todd, the Horror Nerd, here at New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival in Edison, New Jersey. Day 2 of the con. I have been having a great time. Met so many cool people, celebrities, filmmakers, actors, fans, friends. And I have the pleasure of standing here with two gentlemen, Scott and Chiko, of the movie The Forest Hills, which was Shelly Duvall's final film. Gentlemen, how are you guys?
Very, very, very delighted to be here.
Very good, thank you.
All right. So, Scott, I'll start with you. Just tell us a little bit about how the film even came to be and how Shelly,
Sure.
was cast in the film.
Sure, so I worked with Chiko for many years. We go back like 20 years or so. Right out of like college, thesis, zombie film we did. It's a funny story, the teacher of the college said, you got to come up with a superhero film. So it was basically said, well, I want to make a zombie film, about a janitor and a worker who is at night who gets invaded by zombies. So anyway, he came out, responded to a Craigslist ad to play a zombie victim. The zombie victim got really bloody and everything, and
This is some of the special effects.
Yeah.
Doing some of the
doused himself in blood, just a big gallon of blood. He's like
I love
scratching
it.
himself up, and first time I worked with him, so I saw there was something there. I was an independent, trying to be an independent filmmaker, and then from there, we just worked over 20 years, and then like about 2022, we started coming up with an idea to do something that showcases his talents and how extensive he is as far as an actor. So so that came the part of Rico and The Forest Hills. And then Shelly Duvall, just contacted her partner Dan Gilroy. He sent me Shelly's phone number, and then we started talking. And there was in the beginning, there was like a lot of conversation about is Shelly going to be in it in the first 2 weeks. Ultimately, she couldn't travel, so crew flew down to Texas and filmed with her, and as did Chiko as well. So,
Very cool. Very cool. So, Chiko, let's take a quick step back. You said you got to be a zombie. The first indie movie I was ever in, it was the same thing. I played a zombie with my face melting off, with blood and prosthetics and everything. So, what are some of the challenges there?
Well, number one is that it's your first time, and you don't know what to expect. But at the same time, it's super exciting because it has to be a passion. You have to be passionate about making movies and to be involved, to be on the set of where it actually happens, as opposed to being on the other side of like a screen or a TV. It's so amazing that just the process of it, and then in the process of that, you start learning, oh, this is how it's done, this is how it's done. And all kinds of creative sparks just come flying out. And that's when I jumped in to do special effects because, oh, this needs to be done, but there's nobody here, or we're still waiting for the artist to come, or somebody didn't show up like that one time. I remember one specific time, was it 7 in the morning? We were waiting for two special effects artists to show up to do about 15 zombies. I think it was for the day they came back, the sequel to the first film that we did. And I had already learned how to do special effects in the first one, the night they came back, from watching his special effects artist across the cafeteria from my table. And I saw her unwinding a roll of toilet paper with a bottle of liquid wax and latex rubber. And I was like, duly noted, that's it. That was the first film. Second film is when he had the two artists. They didn't make it. They didn't show up. And now we got 15 people in his house, all spread out in the living room, in the kitchen, sitting down, waiting to get made up. And there's no artist. Scott says, "What are we gonna do?" I said, "I don't know. What are you gonna do? You got materials?" He said, "I got a gallon of latex rubber." And I said, "You got bathroom? You got bathrooms in the house? You got toilet paper? Oh, we got a pantry loaded. Go get the rolls. I'll get the latex." And you take half the room, I'll take the other half, and we started doing them all.
Wow.
Doing them all. And oh my God, the paper mache, the sculpting, the finger painting, the Crayola marking, the in the line, all of that came out as a kid. Plus I draw, and with a little creativity, we got them all made up and shot that part 2 of his. It's called The Day They Came Back, and then I got to play the lead of that one, right? Yeah. Like some kind of military crazy guy who gets stuck in the jungle, and they just leave us there to rot. And it's like an epidemic. So they send me in to eradicate the whole thing. But the plan was to do away with all of it, including me. That was his, you know. So yeah, that's the challenge. The challenge is that you got to be ready for every step, and you don't know what that next step is. And you just jump in, you know, it's kind of like, okay, jump off a cliff and then build a plane on the way down.
On the way down,
That's what we did. That's what we did.
And that's indie filmmaking, man. You know,
And
someone doesn't show up.
There's a reason why they call it
do.
guerrilla filmmaking,
Yes.
because it might happen, it might not happen, and we don't know, but just go for it.
Right.
Go for it.
You know, you said something that just triggered something in my mind. I once I started being on film sets and stuff, I learned how deceptively simple some of it is. Like you mentioned, the toilet paper and liquid latex. That's exactly what they did to me to make it look like my face was drooping. Rolled up toilet paper, liquid latex, paint, a little paint, and I'm like, wait, that's it?
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Because in the end, in the very end, it's not the materials, it's what you do with
Sure.
it. That's where the creative process comes in. That's where the artistry of the person handling those materials comes in. It's like there's materials everywhere and anywhere. He knows we can go in the woods and just build a hut out of nothing. It's sitting there, but it's what you do with it. And
Exactly.
when I saw that girl doing that, that's all you. Oh, that. Okay, yeah. And I know how to create the wrinkles and they're dead people, so.
Right.
We don't know how we're going to decompose.
Right, exactly.
So that's my version of a dead body. Eat it or lump it or something. I don't know.
All right, so Scott, you have probably been asked this 1,000 times, right? You know what I'm going to say, but I have to, because I haven't asked it. So, what is it like? Now you're working with Shelly Duvall, who is such a well-known figure in movie history. I mean, The Shining, Popeye, like people know, like holy shit. Shelly Duvall. So what is that like?
Yeah, so there's like a separation easily because of how she looked in 2-3 years ago and during the Dr. Phil episode versus the 80s, like when she was in 1980, The Shining.
Sure.
So there was a separation. So I knew it was Shelly Duvall, but I was a little nervous at first working with her. But still, at the same time, didn't really register, I guess, at the time because it looked like a different Shelley Duvall.
Gotcha.
So
okay, makes
there
sense.
was just a kind of like a difference there. But she was very sweet, very kind. The issue that she had wasn't even mental; it was her physical pain. She had like an ailment with her foot and stuff, so it made it very impossible for us to utilize different sequences, and we want to do much more with her. But yeah, we weren't able to because of it worsened over time.
Yeah.
So the first 2 shoots with her, I was on FaceTime. The DP and one of the producers went down to Texas. They filmed kind of like this sequence of her talking to the camera. And then from there, she said, I want to do more with other, actors, and that kind of sparked the idea, because sometimes, films are just kind of organic.
Yeah.
And we decided to add some sequences with Rico and Felissa Rose as the doctor, and then from there was a story, but I felt like there was much more. So the last 2 shoots of seeing her back in like 2023, around I think it was September, we spent like 2 days with her. We like hung out with her, and she was very sweet, So just like really spent the time. Where it's like the initial 2 times when the crew came down, when I wasn't there, it was like let's shoot, let's get out. This time we kind of just spent time with her and like really, hung out, chatted, did interviews, So. Yeah, he was singing to her as well.
She was singing with me. Like she was doing backup on something that I was trying to sing to her.
Pitch, right? It was like
Yeah. We were both. It was cute. It was so cute. It was like we weren't even actors. It was just like 2 kids.
People, right?
Yeah,
just people hanging out.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of how I approached her as just a human being, because of who she is. I was like, wow, to be in the same room with royalty, and then she's worked with all these other people that I wish I could have worked with them, but my time is now, and
sure.
And there's a time for everything. But to be in the same room with her, I said the only thing that we can be without any of that is just human beings, and then that came out in her, that little girl, that young human, just person, aside from all of the other stuff.
Right.
And that made us, I think, connect a little more when we did our scenes together.
Perfect.
It became a little more personal. Like the scenes were really like related, or I know you because you're my mother and you know me because I'm your son. That type of thing, I think it came out in a lot of scenes. Made it more real to me, and it was great.
That's great. And, you know, obviously at the time, none of us knew, like, oh, this is going to be her final role. You know, she sadly passed away. But not for nothing, like, you guys had that special moment, like, and then next thing you know, she's gone. So you always will have that.
Right.
That you spent that time with her and got to know her a little bit. So I think that's awesome for you guys.
There is,
you know?
there is kind of like a strain of in the air for me. It's like she was around long enough to do one more. It's the old tale of, if I could climb Mount Everest just once, then I could die happy. You've heard the term. You've heard the phrase.
Bucket list. Now I can die happy. Got it.
Like
Got
I've done what I wanted to do, and that's it. So I feel like she was wanted to do something, like kind of like to just seal it with a kiss. Not necessarily this one. We didn't plan it. Nobody plans it. But she kind of like just like let loose. She let it rip. Boy, when she started screaming at me, I was like, oh, she's been holding that one in for a while, not for whatever. And that's why I would say this was her first in 20 and last.
Right.
And I feel that after she worked with us, the energy for me when she passed, and I told you this, was like, okay, now I'm gonna give you my blessing, pass the baton on to you to show the world my work, or who I was, or who I am, or whatever, and now I can rest in peace. That type of thing always floats around.
Sure,
and it's a possibility, you know, because that could be me too. That will be me. It's like, you know, that could be any of us.
Listen, as a fan, Chiko, you're hitting me right in the feels when you said that, you know, really.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it because it's something that I feel very, very deeply from the heart as a human being, and that's something that we all should draw. Even when you're performing, when I'm performing, you have to draw something. You have to make me feel something. Make it look real is one thing. Make me feel. Walk away with like, oh Jesus, I gotta go call my mother, or you know, It's like, and that's the human spirit in us all. Not a two-dimensional thing, but a much more deeper meaning to everything. So I think Shelly helped me get that out, and then what came out helped her come at me, and then I think we all saw that, and it infected everybody around the set, because now everybody was really like, wow, now they're just letting go and letting it rip, and I was happy about all of that.
Very cool. Scott, any final words? And then also let the fans know like where they can check out the movie, how they can get a copy.
Sure.
You know, anything you want to share.
So the website is www.watchtheforesthills.com. It's on Tubi currently. It's on streaming, Amazon. Appreciate everyone's support, and we're just here to kind of just hang out with horror fans and just support the film. And a lot of people came up and really appreciate the film and her final role and stuff. So we're really appreciative of everyone coming out, and appreciate you as well for taking the time to talk to us.
Man.
Thank you.
Of course. Chiko, thank you so much. Scott, thank you very much. Scott Goldberg, Chiko Mendez, everybody from the Forest Hills. Check it out. Order the film. Watch the film. Just get the word out. Todd Struch, the Horror Nerd, signing off from New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival. We will see all of you in the next interview.